Hello, crafty friends, and welcome back to the Prima Marketing channel. I'm Adrienne Boese, better known online as Alice Scraps Wonderland. The latest collection designed by the Three Girls Tale is here, and it is absolutely magical. A mermaid's tale features gorgeous sea-themed elements in blues and purples, plus beautiful mermaids that you can decorate with flowers. Today, I'm sharing how I created this Sea Treasures mixed media project using this new collection from Prima, so let's get right into this tutorial. I'm starting out by fussy cutting one of the large mermaids from one of the cutout sheets in the 12 by 12 paper pad. While you watch a bit of this, I'll give you some of my tips for fussy cutting. I prefer to use a self-healing craft mat with a swivel craft knife over scissors. I find I have better control and am able to make finer, detailed cuts easily with this method. My first tip is to leave your image attached to as large a piece of paper as possible when using a craft knife, so that it gives you something to hold on to without tearing your ephemera while cutting. My second tip is to work on delicate areas and internal cuts first, just like an electronic die cut machine would do. Also, don't be afraid to move your paper around to get a better angle even when using a swivel craft knife. I also recommend not applying too much pressure when cutting with a craft knife. I sometimes have a tendency to do that, and that can create drag or jagged edges on your paper. It can also shatter the fine tip of your craft knife, which I happen to do here, so I switched the knife I was using. You can also save some of the easier areas for cutting with scissors so your hands don't get fatigued. Carefully remove your fussy cut ephemera from the excess paper, or you could end up ripping your ephemera where you didn't fully cut through. I always find a few spots I still need to finish cutting through. Once I'm done fussy cutting ephemera, I move on to cutting out the background paper. I'm tracing out my 12 by 12 round canvas onto the back of one of the 12 by 12 papers. I use my scissors to cut this trace circle out, then I use a distressing tool to rough up the edges for a shabby chic look. To attach this paper to the canvas, I apply Finn's soft matte gel to the back of the circle and press it onto the canvas. If you have a stamp press tool, you can rub this along the back side of the canvas to help laminate the paper to the canvas. I go in and add a little bit more gel around the edges where needed. After letting this sit for about 15 minutes to cure, I then apply clear gesso over the entire surface of the paper to protect it from moisture from mixed media pastes. Once the gesso is dry, I apply Finn's white sand texture paste through one of my favorite stencils, which I think looks like seashells. You can use any stencil that fits in with this nautical theme that you like, as we are just looking to add a hint of texture to the background. While the texture paste is drying, I apply some of the stickers from the sticker roll to clear acetate. This will make the stickers thick so that you can easily layer them into your project. Be sure to pick a thick and sturdy acetate that won't droop. Then I fussy cut the stickers out. I use scissors here since the acetate is clear, it's okay to have a bit of a halo. Next, I prepare resin casts from the mold in this collection, starting by applying the clear gesso to all of the molds. While I'm applying the gesso, I've already added water to some of my Art Philosophy watercolors that I'll be using to paint these resin casts with. This will soften the pigments and they will be ready to use once the gesso on the molds are dry. You can see that I love to work on a piece of plastic packaging while painting for easy cleanup. It's a great way to reuse this plastic, so I feel a little more environmentally friendly in my craft room. Once the gesso is dry, I begin using the watercolors to color my resin molds. The key to watercolors is to layer your colors, starting from light and moving to the dark colors. You also want your colors to dry between the layers unless you are looking to create an ombre effect between two colors. For this project, I used several hues from two art philosophy palettes, Pastel Dreams and Essence. To get additional shades, I mix the colors on my plastic packaging. These detailed paint jobs take quite a bit of time, but I find the rhythm of painting very relaxing, and it's a great time to turn on an audiobook or your favorite TV show and just breathe and relax. I've also added a few of the metallic acrylic paints into the mix here. Once the watercolors are dry, I apply the shimmery amethyst paint to the highlights of the tiny seashell molds. I also use the Mermaid teal paint to add shimmer to the highlights of the two seahorse molds. I felt that the tiny pearl in this clam needed some shimmer, so I added a bit of the white pearl metallic paint to it. To create a more realistic look, I apply the old white matte wax to the highlights to the anchor, coral, and bottles molds. I use both my fingers and a brush to apply the wax. At the very end, I added the Raven Black Sparks paint to the centers of the blue flowers around the anchor mold. Now it's time to assemble the layers on the canvas and add the gorgeous flowers. I start by applying some foam adhesive to the back of the mermaid, peel off the backing, and stick her to the canvas. I'm also using this branch I found in the park near my home. It's as close as I can come to Driftwood in my landlocked city. To glue it in place, I apply heavy body gel and hot glue. Heavy body gel will give it longevity of hold, while the hot glue helps hold it instantly so it doesn't move while I work. I've got some real seashells, including this large clamshell. I add these with hot glue, then apply some heavy body gel in strategic areas where I know I'll be covering it up later. I always love to add some kind of frame to my projects, and today I'm adding this twisted rope chipboard frame. To support it, I glue it on two sides using one of the seashells and a flower to hold it up. To keep it all level, I add some foam to the back of the flower to help pop it up more. I adore these large deep blue flowers in this collection, and I add one of them along with one of the leaves in this set, plus some sisal fibers and lace to the project. Next, I tuck in a bit of this decorative netting, gluing it down in a few places with some hot glue. The other large flower I add is one of the aqua ones. I pop it up and support it with one of the smaller light purple flowers. I then build up the cluster with some other flowers and the molds, adding these to the base of the canvas and on the right side of the branch. I've die cut some leaves and coral shapes from the paper in this collection, and I tuck a few of the leaves in with the larger flowers. I play with the placement and options before gluing these elements in place. I ended up tucking in some of the flower stickers on acetate and some of the flower ephemera. I ended up using two of these jellyfish stickers, and I pop one directly onto the canvas base with some foam adhesive and then tuck the other one in with the large dark blue flower so it floats above the canvas. After adding a few more flowers and die cut coral pieces, I then also add the anchor and the larger bottle molds. I also shape a piece of floral ephemera to match the curve of the large shell and tuck it in. I added chipboard starfish and this fussy cut starfish from the 12 by 12 paper pad using foam adhesive and hot glue. Then I tuck in the seahorse and tiny seashell molds. I add in a few more die-cut coral and a cute little purple flower to the back of the mermaid and another next to the teal flower. To age these sea treasures, I pull out Finn's heavy white gesso and dry brush the branch, shells, and the edges of the flower petals. I think this makes the branch look more like driftwood and adds to that time-worn feel to this mermaid's little treasure trove. Once I've aged the elements on this canvas, I add some art stones using soft matte gel. Using the same gel, I apply 3 colors of glitter to some of the flowers. Be sure to tap off the excess onto a piece of paper and pour that back into your glitter tubes for more projects, or pour all 3 into a jar for a custom party mix. I pulled out the chipboard stickers from this collection, and I started out with the I Love the Sea sticker, but I ended up changing this later on. I also added several of the gorgeous gems from the Sade and crystals from the Mermaid's Tail collection, as well as some of the gilded memory hardware pearls. I like to use liquid adhesive for this. Here, you can see me switching out the chipboard stickers by carefully peeling the first one off and replacing it with the Sea Treasures sticker, which I think fits this project much better. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed learning my fussy cutting tips and tricks for watercoloring resin molds while creating this pretty treasure trove mixed media project. A Mermaid's Tail collection is perfect for those who love the ocean and, of course, magical mermaids. I can't wait to see what you create with this stunning collection. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and to like this video to get more amazing inspiration and content from the Prima Design team. And until next time, happy crafting!